Welcome to the Beacon by Soul 33 teachings for your past, present, and future. Good morning, everybody. It is the 19th of August. I am here in Auckland, New Zealand, where I live. And it is another week, another soul progression lesson that is divinely given to me to guide us all on our journeys here. And if you're listening to this on the Beacon app, on YouTube, on Spotify, please don't forget to like, tag, subscribe, share. Let people know that this platform exists. It really helps me to be able to create more resources for you, for your spiritual growth and your mental health support, and just so that life is more fulfilling when we have something to focus on, which is, I wish I had this when I was going through all of my awakening symptoms over the years. We've got a lot to talk about. We're starting the week off with a blue full moon, and it's an auspicious type of energy, and the energy started to shift on Friday. I was just pulsating with electrical energy on Friday, and I'll talk to you more about it as we go on. We are going to do a recap now of last week's energy, because remember that those of you who are disciplined in listening to the Monday mantras, just as I'm disciplined being here regardless of whatever's going on in my life, you will know that the Monday mantras are not just for the week. I mean, we set the lesson so we have something to focus on, but it all, merges into one another. They're all chapters of a book that you can go back and listen, go back and look at how the other Monday mantras prior, the weeks before, are applying to this week also. Last week's Monday mantra was a series of ceremonies links me to reorder my life. A series of ceremonies links me to reorder my life. I really looked at how this was going last week, and I had incredible clients. I mean, I don't remember everybody, but I had incredible soul stories that were coming up to bring a ceremonial understanding to who they are, what they're doing here. And they were the links that they needed in order for them to keep going in their life. And everything for me, I turned into a ceremony, from dinner with my friend to the way that I drank my tea to the way I put my jewelry on. And I received my snake item, which actually is a ceremonial piece. Like, I was watching this documentary over the weekend, and it was just on YouTube, and I clicked on it, and the image and the words were, underwater Egyptian civilizations. But you know what they talked about? This is why, there was no reference to this. They were talking about the history of Krishna about 20 minutes into this particular thing, because they were talking around how they found, structures from his time, 3,000 years ago, whatever it was, in the ocean. And it's really fascinating that Krishna energy is still coming up, because his ceremony, his festival is coming up next week, even though it was his birthday last week when I went through the portal of the vines to see the peacock feather, which then he said to me it's his birthday. And I was talking to a lady who's my beautician, and she's Indian, and I told her Krishna came to me, and she said, but it's his birthday in August. I said, no. I said, it's a celebration in August. He told me it's his birthday in July, on July 21st, when I was out walking. She said, even I didn't know that. And so it's really interesting, the information that I'm being given to help us. What if our whole lives looked like a series of ceremonies? And when I think of a ceremony, it doesn't have to be a big ceremony. Sure, the Olympics closing ceremony, where it's like the end of one and the torch is passed on to where it's going to be next time, which is going to be in Los Angeles. And creating that ceremony of closing things and opening is really important. It's like the word ritual can also be interchangeably used with ceremony, but it's like, for me, in my culture, when a woman starts menstruating for the first time, there is a ceremony around that to graduate her into womanhood. And at that time, I was horrified by this whole process, but I'm so grateful that I had all that, because I understand now what it all meant when I was doing that with my grandmother. So how did ceremonies come into your life last week? I really was drawn. I'd been thinking about doing the Golden Temple meditation for you for a while, but it came to me as a ceremony of that cleansing that needed to happen when I put it up last week, because it was that energy of ceremonial cleansing also. Getting life in order. I know people who are clearing their houses out. I'm also getting organized to go on an adventure, which I'll share with you during the week. But it's a time of reordering and structure and mental order, which are all more in the masculine, which is really fascinating because ceremonies you think are more feminine in energy. Remember, I'm not talking about gender here, I'm talking about energy. But the cards that popped up in my head before for my third eye tarot, it was from a pack that is not the usual tarot pack. And I had to go searching for the card, going and see the image. What are they trying to tell me? And I'm going to go through that when I start talking about this week's Monday mantra. So how are you getting reordered in your life now? How are you becoming more practical with structure, but also leaving time to integrate and for things to come together? So with the ceremony, it's like, well, we're all wanting to change and transform, right? Whether it's internally or externally. But we need to do something and then let things integrate. The ceremonies that we're creating may be closing out the mundane. Don't want it to be boring anymore. We still have to do certain things, but we don't want it to be mundane. It's creating more significance to the links in everyday life, how you transition from one thing to the other. It was an important week. Oh, yes, resetting what some past triggers may have meant for you. I know some of you have shared in the group chat what was going on for you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And the things that were coming up for me were old stories that with clients, but also with me, just old stories that needed to be cleansed and where I needed to recreate that experience so it had a new meaning, a new impression. So that is still true for this week. Going and doing something that is going to change the way that you look at it and the way that it's stored in your memory and in your soul memory. So the example that comes up here is when I was mugged. When I was mugged was 5 years ago, and I remember the outfit I was wearing, and I couldn't put that outfit on. I still have that shirt because it was just a basic denim shirt, which I like. But I had to change the way that I felt about that experience because it was quite traumatic. And so when I went to London directly after that mugging that happened in Malaysia, I did a photo shoot wearing those exact clothes because I wanted to empower myself, knowing that it's got a different meaning. And I loved those photos that were taken because they were all taken on film, and that whole experience was an adventure with that photographer. How are you creating new meanings and the impression, the memory impression left on it? Doing something that you have always done, but turning it into a ceremony that brings you more joy. We still need to do that. And I'm also going on a plane trip adventure this week and turning that into not the actual traveling part, not into something that is a chore, but something that I can relax and just look at the transition as it happens, as I move, shifting across waters to get where I'm going. You might find yourself somewhere else or preparing to go somewhere. Now, this can mean so many things. This can mean that you're planning on moving later on, but you're preparing now. This can mean that you'll be taking journeys outside of where you normally live and coming back. I know a lot of people who are having really incredible dreams right now, astral traveling, moving through different dimensions and coming back. This is really giving you a new point of view and how you want to be looking at your life. Old challenges are coming up to be resolved, and revisiting these old feelings of being let down is actually helping you come back to balance. And what I'm realizing from the clients that I've been seeing is that not everybody is realizing that they feel let down, but it's affecting what they're trying to create in their life. And we are humans. We all feel sometimes emotions that we don't want to feel, but we need to work through them and understand them, especially feelings of envy or jealousy or resentment towards someone because they're holding you back from being more of who you are, or because they're looking at you going, well, you've got something that I want and I can't have it. And this is happening in relationships also where someone is close to you. So really examine what is going on there, where you might be finding that you're being let down, or that feeling of being let down is coming up. creating occasions that end something and begin something else. And again, that ceremony of transition, a new tradition in the way that you want to operate, in the way that you want to live. The links in between is what Spirit kept telling me. It may be a simple ceremony, like a friend of mine is going through a lot at the moment, and she was doing a whole lot of ceremonies to close things and start again, because being connected to the collective fear of everything, of money, of being alone, of not having children, of being in a job that you don't like, or a fear of money, you can actually have ceremonies to close that energy and open them up. But it also comes back. I was making a lot of tea and cacao last week and drinking that in a way that was very conscious. And then a ritual before going to sleep also. Filling your life with the presence of the divine, knowing that this downtime that you're giving yourself in the ceremonial process is actually the link for more coming, being able to reorder from that way. So this whole week that we've had and going into this week, it's about building your inner strength and feeling abundant and whole internally so it can transpire externally. Treat this week and the one that we're going in as a preparation. We're preparing for something more to fill the space that we've created or that we are creating. There is this push and pull feeling, but that is because we're leaving behind the old and bringing in the new, because we're this energy shift that I felt on Friday, and many of my healer friends were also, because we all reach out to each other going, you're feeling the shift, is because you're being more connected to your spiritual purpose here on earth. And we need to get our physical surroundings, including our physical bodies, ready for that, how the space to be filled with that new wisdom. This is why I've given you Mercurtius cell infusion, which I know is a favorite with all of you as part of this week's homework, because it is that electrical energy coming in to infuse our cells. As we moved through the week, it was interesting because the third eye tarot was the world, and then the earth card came up for the soul progression card for the week. And I put here, what if we viewed our life here on earth as a ceremony? Not a place to pass or fail, but as a part of a series of experiences that link us from an end to a beginning over and over again. Because it gives us the ability to start over, doesn't it? The world, the earth, is a place for us to be in a way that is authentic to us, a ceremony of the physical and the spiritual dancing together. The earth card that came up last week represented that we need to look at our past with acceptance, and that is the link, that is a transition to the completion of an old version of ourselves to the new. So the earth card came up to remind us that there is a ceremonial transition that is happening for us right now in some way, and you need to figure out what that is in your life that is taking us from one experience to the next. I feel underlying excitement for this, even though, I'm having all the other feelings like everybody else, but you need to tune into that. What is this marrying between two things? What is the ceremony that you're going through in your life, whether it's you're consciously creating a ceremony or the universe is giving you some sort of ceremony back to yourself? I put up a post, which I don't normally put up that many private posts, I just put up to teach, but there's something about life that has us wondering, what is it all for? Sometimes I ask this question, what is this all for? No one really knows the answer, but I get glimpses of it when I see clients who are spiritually open enough for me to drop their guard and to let me look at their soul, look through the physical into their soul. And we all have different reasons we are here, and we're here to figure that out. People hide so many things. They even hide things that they don't even know are there. But we need to be willing to uncover those parts of us. Like I said to you earlier, people have been let down, but are dismissing that, are not really looking at how that energy, without healing that, is affecting the ceremonial link to the next thing. We have learned to pretend to survive. We have learned to lie and be in a state of denial just to fit in, just to draw attention to ourselves. We've been numbed and dumbed. We've done that to ourselves. People have done that to us, and we've just continued on. But it's time now to draw that out of us. We've been silenced into fear or submission, and even the opposite for those who are wanting to be seen through the performance of a drama to hold on to. We learn to blame and not take ownership of what we are meant to do to heal ourselves in order for our lives to change. I am by no means perfect, and I'm really not. But I keep learning and understanding every day. And even when I don't understand, I need to remember that there's an order for a reason that I may not know right now and you may not know right now. There is an order of ceremonies that is taking place for us. When I was chosen to start this work at 33 years, which is how I'm 41 now, I'm going back a little bit. I started off as an apprentice with this work, and people came to see me, and they wanted me to tell them their future and what jobs they would have. And I used to think that this is what the gift was for too. But as I grew, and as I grow, so does the gift. Now I see people who humanly have it all and are still unfulfilled, because it's not about the predictions. It's about what you need to learn from the triggers that come up during healing, the things that Spirit addresses through me for your soul progression. We're so much deeper than we think. There are mysteries about you that are unveiling hard and fast, and they are the links, a series of ceremonies in our lives to participate in. And we started in this life with our birthday. It does not end with our death day. The days in between are all rituals that can heal us or hurt us. In my culture, there are ceremonies for everything. Each ceremony is a representation, as a link to another version of us, a ceremony to summon the spiritual support leading us to the soul fulfillment we are all looking for. And for me, that's snake energy. And I love that some of you saw snakes, like wherever you live. We don't actually have physical snakes in New Zealand. But that snake energy is presenting itself. It could even be dragon energy, because it's all that form of the serpent. And a snake can be a protector and the source of life force energy, but it can also be the venom that pollutes us, waiting to be cleansed through a new ceremony of defeat. We want to defeat those demons that are inside of us, the darkness that wants to come into the light, but that takes bravery. And the extended meaning of the Monday mantra: life is a series of ceremonies and rituals that we shouldn't be afraid to create and participate in. People have this kind of woo-woo thing about rituals and ceremonies, but our birthday, people celebrate our birthday, people celebrate death. Why can't we do that for all the rituals in between? Like, there's a ritual for everything in my culture, and it's because the energy needs shifting and to be converted to power, rather than just holding that energy there. That cannot be done without conscious participation. You need to be consciously aware of what you are participating in. And what does it look like, and what does the energy feel like if you knew this is a series of ceremonies and rituals that are leading you somewhere, even the boring everyday things? Energy needs to move and shift, otherwise we get stuck and it can be converted to power. And this is where that electrical energy was coming into me on Friday, because it's the surge of that electromagnetic currents that are coming from the universe to give us that power. But we need to stay grounded, because sometimes with that power, it can feel like everyone's pulling you in a million different directions. Our lives are a series of occasions, and it's up to us to decide what we observe first before we consciously participate. Observing first and then deciding whether you are participating or not. Not just following blindly, not just going along with things because everybody else's. What are you observing, and what is the ceremony that you're creating for yourself? Remember, I'm always here for you, and I am only one person. I'm doing my very best to see everybody, but joining a waitlist is the right thing to do, because it's always the right time when you see me. But there are other ways for everybody's affordability: mini readings, soul magics, personalized meditations, and you're all doing really well asking for your personalized meditations. Kieran is the person to ask if you need any help. And obviously this app is only $60 a year, which is really nothing compared to the cost to run it. And we keep the link outside of the app so that I don't have to put the price triple the amount because of all the fees that we have to pay the platforms. soul33@gmail.com if you need some help from Kieran to get the link to renew. And if you're having IT issues, please do not suffer in silence because we cannot read minds. And don't leave a message in the group chat about IT issues because there are people with the same names and most of you will put things in anonymously. We don't know who you are and we need your email so IT can log in and check your account. So Kieran is the person for all of that. Okay, if you're looking at your screen, I found it really strange when I sat down and turned my laptop on to record this, that Spirit showed me this card. Okay, and it's two men being very aggressive with each other. And I was thinking, okay, this card in this pack is the Five of Fire, and it's about chaos. And remember, I've told you that August is about chaos for reward. That's why the meditation for the month is chaos for reward. I'm going to read you the Monday mantra and talk to you about that, and then we're going to see how we're going to apply this card. My personal transformation comes from sharing something powerful. My personal transformation comes from sharing something powerful. Once in a blue moon, and I've been buzzing with that electrical energy for days now, we have a super blue moon that is the big release, but also extra power to create freedom. We will be releasing layers of what has held us back, and a new foundation of abundance and wealth is on the horizon. What can we achieve when we know that we are sharing something that is powerful? And what can we achieve from this upgrade with the energies that are available to us? So I'm going to stop there and we're going to look at that card again, the two men it's a red card. There's blue, which is really interesting because the blue moon. And it's like the blue is on the periphery of the aggressors. Whereas we need to be focusing on our power, but not from a place of control or dominance or judgment or conflict. And remember, the Monday mantras can be the complete opposite if you are not in alignment. It could be people trying to exert power. Be mindful of that this week. And I could be picking up things that are on a global level, but we need to make sure that we're not controlling too much and just going with what we truly want to share for our transformation and for the transformation of others. There is some excitement this week, from internal upgrades to setting forth on new adventures in some way. There may even be some form of celebrating that you know by sharing it with others. So whatever celebrations might be coming up, like I'll be on my own a lot this week, but I am seeing it as a celebration for a different reason, which I'll share with you when I can. Perhaps there's some news to share, or maybe there's a secret you've been wanting to tell and you're wanting to reveal something. It's about really trusting your inner voice this week. Is this really based on fact? Is this based on other people's opinion, or is this what I feel? Because this card is even indicating that to avoid pack mentality. So it's not about someone's going to be necessarily aggressive towards you. It's again, trusting your inner voice. And that is, I'm sharing something powerful. So it's Mercury retrograde still. We still want to be mindful of, communication, but there's something you need to say this week. And it may be to yourself, it may be out loud, it may be publicly, it may be, who knows. But see what comes up for you. And remember, think about the ceremonial aspect of it too, because that's still prevalent for us. Where are we? Life is coming to a head this week. You're being asked to share your knowledge and your wisdom with others. You may get an opportunity to shine. You may get an opportunity to say your piece in a small or a big way. Spirit says, be in the flow and give and receive. There will be an in-between bridge presented to you to love and accept yourself and others. So again, interesting that Five of Fire card came up, which is chaos, conflict, confrontation, but it's obviously balanced with those of us in the light that are healing those aspects of us if someone's trying to do that to us, so that we can come back to our inner voice and share from our inner power. If you're wanting to teach or help people, this is the week to do that and to step up to the task. Take some time to recuperate and ground into who you are and what you are creating. Answers will be presenting themselves to you in that space of recuperation. And it's interesting that they use the word recuperation. There is motivation, there is deep awareness this week, there is deep connection. It's going to require some patience with yourself and others. It's rising up to meet yourself or meet someone at another level. And we need to love and accept who they are and who we are if we find ourselves in a situation where we do need to share something and that we do need to be heard in some way. Also, the third eye traditional tarot that came up was the King of Wands. Masculine energy again, being the visionary, being the leader, having integrity and honor. So if we use that with the Five of Fire card of control, desire for power, for influence, we can use it to be in balance with the Monday mantra and to recognize it in other people if it's not in a balanced way. There's a lot to think about there, and I just think as you go through the week, think about what you're trying to create, and is it coming from a place of control or dominance, or is it coming from a place of personal transformation? I'm going to take a moment now, and if you're not driving, close your eyes, and we're going to give you the energy of this blue moon coming in with the electrical energy to transmute all the old feelings that have been holding you down, lifetimes where you've been controlled in some way, or you're controlled by your day-to-day activities and feel like you can't grow. We're removing that, letting the blue moon coming around the periphery of your body, like in that card. The periphery of the body is blue and the internal is fire, your internal flame blazing, to share something powerful. Share something powerful, whether it's on your social media with a partner, to yourself. Write something, share something powerful. Your Monday mantra is my personal transformation comes from sharing something powerful. My personal transformation comes from sharing something powerful. Remember, I'm always here for you. Kieran is the person to email to get any help. soul33@gmail.com. I will see you next week.